I have some questions. Is tattoo good? For a Christian, I mean, for a Christian, should we wear tattoos?
Apologia.
To bring a better and balanced understanding of biblical doctrines and principles and how it affects culture.
Let me read a stat to you. It says a study says that people around the age of 40% of people around the age of 35 and above have at least one tattoo. For example, we can have high profile singers, preachers have been spotted with tattoos. So is tattoo a thing for a Christian? Can we wear it? Is this sinful? Is it sinful for us to have tattoo as Christians? Just stay tuned while my very pastors, while they answer the questions. Pastor GP sir, tattoo, like what are your thoughts about tattoo? What's the perspective of the Bible about tattoo? Seeing that a very popular preacher, of course, and Joyce Meyer just got a tattoo. So what do you think about it? Is this sinful?
Okay, so for questions like this, it's always best for us to start with what the Bible says about these issues. So we can find the whole matter of tattoo in the book of Leviticus chapter 19,
Yeah,
Leviticus
Leviticus
19,
19.
this
Yes.
is 28. He said, "You shall not make cut on your body for the dead or tattoo yourself. I am the Lord." So that's where the clear statement, "You shall not do it. I am the Lord." Now, one thing we need to take to consideration when looking at this portion of the Bible, Leviticus, because it's the portion where the Mosaic law was being given out.
Yeah.
Now,
Leviticus 19.
there are many laws inside this portion in Leviticus 19. There are laws inside it that we as believers don't believe apply to us today. For example, inside this same portion, the same stretch of scripture, there is you should not wear clothes that has both silk and linen. Yeah, there's you should not plant your seed and plant two seed on your field.
Yeah.
But today, miscropping is a thing where you are advised to
Yes.
even plant those. So you get
Yes.
to know that from what God was doing here was trying to separate his people. So the whole what he's talking about essentially is separation. So now this now leads us to knowing how we as Christians apply Old Testament passages to ourselves.
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah.
apply these passages, this and others? Now we are basically focusing today on tattoos.
Yes.
How do we apply this to ourselves?
So
Now,
are they,
how we apply laws from the Old Testament to ourselves is basically checking, are they repeated in the New Testament? Is there any clear portion of the New Testament that tells us that tells us that we should not do this? Also, we also look at whether whether or not these laws were, how will I put it now, moral laws. Yeah, because there are some ceremonial laws that was
yes.
just for the people of Israel. Now, tattooing was one of those kind of laws. How do I know? We didn't see it being mentioned in the New Testament or condemned, because when there was a session about this in the church council, Jerusalem council, this was not mentioned. What was mentioned there was sexual immorality, eating things sacrificed to idols, and all that. But that being said, now for our culture, tattoos, the reason why God told them to abstain from tattoo then was because it was part of the way the pagans worship their gods.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
saying so that they will not identify you, there will not be any confusion between you and the pagans. So don't use tattoo.
Be
But
separated as your
yes,
God is separated.
yes. So,
Yeah.
but for us as Christians now, can we use tattoo? Now, there is no clear instruction that don't do it for us as Christians. So it's permissible, but it's not necessary that we do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the sake of other believers that are weak in faith, that might not believe, that might have this conscience issue that, oh, if I put tattoo in my body, I'll go to hellfire. So just because you want to exercise your own liberty, you are not causing another believer to sin. And according to the book of Romans chapter 14, we are not to do that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a sin for you to get a tattoo, but you have to apply wisdom while doing it. In your own context, you might not need it. It might be advisable for you not to. I'll leave it to Pastor Alex to.
Well, hold on, sir. See, the thing is that for me, for me, the thing is that tattoo. I really don't see tattoo because sometimes I may even want to get tattoo like I love Jesus on my skin. Yeah, so Pastor Alex, I don't know. Is it that the Bible, like from what you've read, can we apply that now to our like direct life, like right now as believers? Can we apply that? Because some maybe some days I may want to get tattoos for myself, honestly. So what's your thoughts, sir?
Where would you love to have a tattoo?
I'll just put it somewhere where nobody will see, just me.
The nose. All right. Concerning the issue of tattoo, there are two extremes.
Okay.
The first one is the legalistic extreme, and the second one is the license extreme. A legalist will tell you that if you take tattoo on your body, you are doomed for hell, and then you are possessed by demons, and then you're not a Christian. A license, someone who is coming from the license view will say, I am free in Jesus Christ, I'm not under the Mosaic law anymore. Everything about tattoo, as far as I can understand, was binding on the Old Testament. Now we are the New Testament Christian. It doesn't affect me, so I'm free. But as Christians, we have to take a very, very vantage view of it. Let's practically understand this and let's have a balanced view of it. The only explicit response to tattooing was Pastor GP quoted that Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28, where he says, you shall not make cuttings or tattoo on your body. Now, that's let's take a pause for a moment. Let's understand it. That Bible passage was not saying that the markings, the cuttings were intrinsically evil. Like it's not as if the markings or the cuttings on the skin were intrinsically evil.
More like the content of
Yes. What's the essence of that? Why did God prohibit them? Yes, was because of paganism. Tattooing was associated with paganistic culture. They do it to worship alien gods and the dead, and God prohibited the children of Israel from practicing such. Now let's drive it home. There's nowhere it is clearly delineated in New Testament that we shouldn't take tattoo, because as it is, we are not under the Mosaic law. Romans chapter 7, I'll read says, verse 6, we are delivered from the law so that we can serve in the newness of the Spirit and not in the oldness of the written code. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, in and of itself, intrinsically, from the Bible, we've seen that it was not clearly stated that tattooing is bad. But let's connect dots with dots and let's see it's actually um let me use the word, I'll give my opinion. Now if someone comes to me and says he wants to have a tattoo, what will I advise him as a Christian? These are my opinions.
Yes.
And I'll draw them from scriptures. I'll counsel the person against having a tattoo. Now these are my reasons. Number one, these are the reasons. Number one, First Peter chapter 3 verse 1 says, chapter 3 verse 3 to 4 says, do not let your adornment be external, but let it be of the heart with imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit. So tattooing has excessive preoccupation with self.
Yeah.
You are preoccupied about how you look, you are narcissistic, you're not worshiping yourself. Ask people who actually go to have tattoo on their body. First thing is the motive. What's the motive? They are preoccupied with how they look. Maybe they are influenced with how somebody look. Maybe a celebrity has it. They just want to go with the pop culture.
Yeah.
So you are preoccupied with how you look. Yes, you want to belong. You know. Number two, I for one won't buy the idea of having, something indelibly, permanently marked on my body. You know the reason why? This is the reason. Now, when I'm 70 years old, I'll now live to relieve the regrets of my youthful indiscretion and youthful foolishness.
Yeah.
And I start asking myself, why did I even have this? The guilt will constantly, like, look me in the face.
Yeah.
I don't want to live that kind of life, a life of regrets. So, for that reason, I would advise someone not to go and have a tattoo. The third reason, what's the motive for having a tattoo? Is it to glorify God? Is it out of true allegiance to God, or because you want to go with the pop culture? or you want to go with one celebrity figure. And lastly, ask yourself the question: the reason I'm having this tattoo, is it going to cause, is it going to be a stumbling block to my brother?
Yeah.
Because there's some, religion, you want to minister Christ to people, you want to minister the gospel to the people. Some religions like find tattoo nauseating,
Yeah.
like the Islam religion. You want to minister Christ to a Muslim. First of all, that's a put off for a Muslim because
Yeah.
it gets them irritated. And other religions too. So, and also they are, well, just like Pastor GP mentioned, they are believers in the faith who are
In faith, yeah.
weak in faith. You don't want to be a stumbling block to them. And the book of First Corinthians chapter 8 says, "But beware lest somehow this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to those who are weak in the faith." So I don't want to be a stumbling block to those who are in the faith, who are weak in the faith. I want to be an encouragement. I want to be a source of inspiration.
Wow.
So I'll advise you, I'll counsel you against having it. So
Yeah.
See the way Pastor Alex just changed my mind in how many minutes? I wanted to get tattoo, but thinking about it honestly, I don't want to be a stumbling block to anybody, and also because I want to be a witness of Christ to the unbelievers, to the Muslims, to the Buddhists, to the traditional people. So I just want to be modest in my appearance,
Yeah.
right? So
everything we do should be to the glory of God.
of course, yes,
Yes.
everything we do should be to the glory of God. So you've had it. The question of tattoo, we said it just now. It's not like drawing a tattoo into your body or on your skin. It's not like it's a sin in itself, but your motive. Are you getting it? The people around you. So whatever you are doing, let love be the sponsor. Do you understand? Yeah. So let love be the sponsor of what you are doing. Love for your neighbor and love for God, and do everything to the glory of God. So that is that about this session. We're going to have another short break now. Then after the break, we're going to be talking about a question that someone sent to us. And that question is about prayer. Yes. So does sin hinder my prayer? What is the effect of sin in my prayer life? Is that the reason why I'm not getting answers to prayer? So you want to hear these answers, honestly, and I'm sure my speakers are, my people on my side are prepared for this. So stay tuned. We'll be back with the answer to the question. Thank you very much.
Apologia,
Modeling society along biblical lines and making your faith thrive in Jesus Christ.